The galaxy targeted Earth, but one message threw everyone into hysteria. The sky over Earth was clear, but far beyond the atmosphere, something massive was moving. Satellites first noticed strange readings in the outer edge of the Milky Way. At first, no one thought much of it. Scientists assumed it was a comet or a cloud of cosmic dust. But then the movement changed. Slowly, it became obvious that it was not natural. It was too big, too organized, and it was heading straight for Earth. Captain Jake Harris was at the Global Space Defense Center when the alarm went off. The red lights flashed across the control room, and the loud siren made everyone jump. Jake had been in charge of space operations for nearly 10 years. He had seen close calls, meteor showers, and even near collisions with asteroids. But nothing like this. He leaned over the console, trying to make sense of the numbers. "Dr. Grant?" he called, his voice firm but tense. "What are we looking at?" Dr. Lily Grant, the chief astrophysicist, turned from her screens. Her eyes were wide. She had studied space for most of her life, but her face showed fear she could not hide. "It's huge, Jake. Something like a fleet, not one ship, many ships, and they're moving fast. Calculating, they'll reach the solar system in 3 months, maybe less."
3 months? That's...
Not enough time. Not enough time to prepare for anything. Commander Ben Carter, a tall man with a stern face, stepped into the room. He had military experience and knew how to keep calm in crises, but even he looked unsettled.
"We need to alert the governments, everyone."
"Now, this isn't something we can handle alone." Lily turned back to her screens, typing furiously. "I've been checking signals from other parts of the galaxy. No one else seems to have noticed. This might be the first warning anyone is getting." Jake looked at Ben. "So we're the first line of defense? That's comforting." Comforting? Not really. But it's reality. We act now, or we won't get another chance. Across the room, technicians worked quickly to transmit the information to leaders around the world. The news spread like wildfire. Within hours, governments declared emergency meetings. Cities around the globe began to prepare for evacuations. People were confused, scared, and angry. They did not know if the fleet was coming as friends or foes, and no one could predict what would happen if it arrived. In New York, the streets were already crowded with people trying to buy supplies. Stores were emptying, and the police tried to keep order. Families hugged tightly, children clinging to their parents. On television, news anchors repeated the same message: unknown alien fleet approaching Earth. All governments are monitoring the situation. The words sounded unreal, like a science fiction story come to life, but no one doubted it. Everyone could see the changes in the sky, in the satellites, and the signals. Back at the Space Defense Center, Jake, Lily, and Ben worked long hours. They checked data, ran simulations, and tried to predict what the aliens might want. There were no signs of weapons yet, but the size of the fleet suggested that it could destroy Earth if it wanted to. Jake could not stop thinking about it. Millions of lives, the future of humanity, all depended on their next steps.
Lily tapped her fingers on the desk. "I can't figure out their speed."
"It's faster than anything we've seen before. Faster than any natural object. Faster than any spacecraft we've built." Ben rubbed his chin. "Then we have to prepare for the worst. If they are hostile, we need a plan to defend ourselves. If they are peaceful, we still need a plan to communicate." Jake nodded.
"We'll do both. We have to."
His mind raced. He had been trained to act under pressure, but this pressure was different. It wasn't just about saving one ship or one base. It was about saving the entire planet. He thought about his family at home, about the children playing outside in the sunlight. He thought about ordinary people who had no idea what was coming. And he realized that there was no room for fear, only action. As days passed, news of the approaching fleet dominated every conversation. Scientists tried to explain what they knew. Some said the fleet came from a distant part of the galaxy where no intelligent life had been confirmed. Others speculated that this was a scouting mission and that the main force was still far away. But no one could be sure. Every piece of data made the threat bigger and scarier. The world seemed to shrink to a single point. Earth was being watched and maybe targeted. In the control center, Lily discovered something strange. "Jake, look at this," she said, pointing to a screen. "They're ships. They're not just moving toward us. They're positioning themselves. They're forming patterns. It's as if they know we are watching." Jake leaned closer.
What kind of patterns? Geometric, Lily replied. Triangles, hexagons, circles.
"I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense."
It's too precise to be random, Ben frowned.
"Could it be a signal? Some kind of message in their formation?" Lily nodded slowly. "Possibly, but what are they trying to say?" No one had an answer. For nights, Jake could not sleep. He kept imagining the fleet appearing in the sky, so massive that it could blot out the sun. He thought about how humanity would fight. Could they survive? Could anyone survive? The questions haunted him. Even Ben and Lily, the calmest people he knew, seemed anxious. The air in the control center felt heavy with fear. Meanwhile, ordinary life on Earth continued. Children went to school, people went to work, but everyone felt different. People stared at the sky more often, watched satellites, followed the news closely. Governments tried to calm the population, but the truth was too obvious. Earth was not safe. Panic started to rise. Some people tried to flee cities, moving to the countryside or smaller towns. Others hoarded food and supplies. Markets were crowded, and tensions grew. Humanity, normally so confident and self-assured, suddenly realized how fragile they were. Jake, Lily, and Ben met every morning to plan. They had to consider every possibility: invasion, communication, evacuation, or hiding. They trained teams to monitor the fleet constantly. They built simulations to guess alien technology. They debated strategies late into the night. Every decision felt like it could decide the fate of billions. One day, Lily called Jake over to her console urgently.
"Jake, I think they just sent something," she said.
Her fingers flew over the keyboard. The screens flickered, and then a message appeared. It was simple, clear, and terrifying. "Prepare yourselves." The words were not violent, not even a threat, but they carried a weight heavier than any missile or weapon. He looked at Ben. This is no ordinary warning." Ben shook his head. "No, this is bigger than anything we've faced. The entire galaxy is involved now." Over the next few hours, scientists confirmed that the message was coming directly from the fleet. The world held its breath. Governments debated whether to respond. Could they even respond? How do you speak to beings who could destroy your planet without effort? Everyone waited for an answer, but no one knew what to do. The message was simple, but it made no sense. It was like a puzzle with pieces missing. People's lives changed dramatically. Streets emptied as fear spread. Families stayed close. Schools and offices closed. News channels repeated the same information, and social media exploded with speculation. Some believed it was a hoax. Others thought the end of the world was near. The world was no longer peaceful. Humanity felt small fragile and uncertain. And yet, despite fear, people still hoped. Somewhere deep inside, they believed that Earth could survive. Jake stood at the control center, staring at the image of the fleet on the screen. He felt both fear and responsibility. This was his duty, and he would not fail. Beside him, Lily worked silently, decoding signals and running calculations. Ben checked the communications channels, making sure every government had the information they needed. They were a small team facing a massive unknown, but they were humanity's first line of defense, and they would not let fear control them. Not yet. Outside, the stars shone as usual. But now they seemed different. The sky held secrets that no human had ever known. Something was coming, something vast, and Earth was in the middle of it. For the first time in history, all of humanity knew the truth. They were being watched, and the watchers were coming closer. And in the quiet of the control room, Jake whispered to himself, "We have 3 months. That's all we get. 3 months to survive." The message from the alien fleet shocked the world. "Prepare yourselves." The words were simple, but they carried a weight that no one could ignore. Scientists, leaders, and ordinary people stared at their screens in disbelief. No one had expected communication so soon, and no one knew what it truly meant. The world fell into a state of hysteria. In the Global Space Defense Center, Jake Harris, Lily Grant, and Ben Carter worked tirelessly to understand the message. Every moment brought new data, and every data point raised more questions than answers. Lily looked at the screen, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "Jake, I've been analyzing the signal. It's not just words. There are patterns, frequencies hidden inside the message. I think it's a kind of code." Jake leaned over her shoulder. "Code? For what?" Lily shook her head. "I don't know yet."
But it's old. Really old.
Parts of it match signals that were sent from Earth decades ago, maybe even hundreds of years ago. It's as if they've been listening to us for a long time. Ben crossed his arms, frowning. "Listening? So they've been watching us all along? Why now? Why send a warning at this point? Maybe we are not the target. Maybe something else is coming, and they are trying to help us. Or warn us." Jake ran his hand through his hair, feeling a mix of hope and fear. Help us? Warn us? Dead? We don't even know if we can trust them. How do we know this isn't a trick? Even if it is a trick, we have no choice. We have to prepare. If we do nothing, we're finished. News spread across the world that the fleet had sent a message. People were afraid, but many were curious. On television and social media, the words "prepare yourselves" were repeated over and over. Conspiracy theories formed almost instantly. Some said it was a hoax. Others believed it was the end of the world. In New York, Sarah Miller held her son Tyler close as they watched the news. Tyler was only 8, too young to understand the full danger, but he could sense the fear. "Bah!" he whispered. "Are they going to hurt us?" Sarah hugged him tighter. "I don't know, sweetie, but we're going to be careful. That's all we can do." People everywhere felt the same way. Fear was constant, like a heavy shadow hanging over the world. Governments tried to calm the public, but the message from the aliens was clear. Something was coming, and it was serious. Back at the Space Defense Center, Lily finally cracked a part of the code. Her voice was low, but urgent. "Jake, Ben, I think I understand part of the message." "It's not a threat. It says you are not the target." Jake froze. The warning. What does that mean? Lily shook her head. I don't know. But they didn't come to attack us. They came to send a message.
They're trying to tell us something important?
This is worse than I thought. If we are not the target, what is? And why involve us at all? Lily turned back to her screen. It gets stranger. I've been checking old signals. They have been receiving Earth's radio, television, and satellite transmissions for decades. They know about our history, our wars, our achievements, everything. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. So they know us, and they decided to send a warning. That means something big is coming, something we cannot handle alone. For days, the three of them worked without rest. They monitored the fleet constantly, trying to understand its movements. Each day, more ships arrived, forming a massive formation that could be seen from space. They were huge, unlike anything humans had ever built or imagined. Lily discovered something else. Jake, look at this. The ships are moving in patterns, geometric patterns, triangles, circles, hexagons. It's not random. Jake frowned. You think it's a message? Maybe, Lily said. Or maybe it's a way to communicate with each other. But it's precise. It's intelligent. Very intelligent. Ben shook his head. This is not just a warning. They are trying to teach us something. Or guide us. But what? Meanwhile, panic on Earth grew. Cities emptied as people tried to escape to rural areas. Shops ran out of food and water. Governments began rationing supplies. People were scared of the unknown, of something they could not see but knew was coming. In Los Angeles, a man named Daniel Brooks watched the sky every night. He had a small telescope on his balcony and spent hours trying to see the fleet. At first, he thought it was impossible, but soon he saw the faint glimmer of massive ships moving slowly but surely toward Earth. Daniel's neighbor, Bea Evans, joined him on the balcony. Do you really think they are going to attack us? She asked. I don't know, but we need to be ready. We can't just wait and hope. Back at the Space Defense Center, Jake, Lily, and Ben had a breakthrough. Lily had managed to translate more of the alien message. Listen to this, she said. It says, we have been trying to reach you for centuries. Centuries? They've been trying to contact us for hundreds of years? Yes. And it gets stranger. The message says, they are not the first civilization to be warned. They were once conquerors, but they learned the hard way. Their galaxy was destroyed, and they survived. They want us to survive too. Ben stared at the screen. So they are refugees? They lost everything? And now they are warning us? They know a threat is coming, something that destroys entire galaxies. And Earth is in the path. We're not being targeted because we did something wrong. We're being warned because something bigger is coming. Something we can't fight alone. Lily looked at him.
Exactly. And we have 3 months to prepare.
That's not much time. We have to act fast. Jake nodded. Then we act. We gather the best minds, the best technology. We prepare for whatever comes.
As the world reacted, people began to see the message in different ways. Some believed it was a test, a warning to make humanity better.
Others believed it was a threat disguised as a warning. Governments tried to keep order, but the truth was simple. Earth had no choice. They had to listen. In Washington, President Laura King addressed the nation. We have received a message from an unknown civilization. They say we are not the target, but a warning. This is unprecedented. We do not yet know the full meaning, but we must prepare. We must work together to protect our planet. Her words were calm, but in private she worried like everyone else. Advisors argued over military action, diplomacy, and communication. Scientists argued over technology, space travel, and decoding the message. But all agreed on one thing. The message was real, and it could not be ignored. At the Space Defense Center, Jake watched the data. The fleet had stopped moving closer for now. It seemed to wait, as if observing Earth's response. Jake wondered if the aliens were testing humanity, if they were judging whether Earth could survive what was coming. Lily typed furiously. "I've been analyzing ancient signals from Earth, radio waves from the 20th century, even older signals. They are in the message. Somehow they used our own signals to communicate back. They have been listening for decades." Jake frowned. "That's unsettling. They know us better than we know ourselves." Ben leaned back in his chair. "And yet they want to help. Or warn us. That gives us a choice. We can panic and fail, or we can learn from them and survive." Jake clenched his fists. "Then we learn. We survive." Duh. No matter what. Outside, the world felt smaller, tighter, and more fragile than ever. People stared at the night sky, wondering what was coming. Fear mixed with curiosity, hope mixed with terror. Humanity realized how little it truly knew about the universe and how much depended on the choices they made in the next few months. Sarah Miller hugged her son Tyler again. "We'll be okay, honey. We just have to listen and be smart." Tyler nodded, but he still looked up at the sky every night. He felt that something bigger than him, bigger than the world, was watching. In the Space Defense Center, Jake turned to Lily and Ben.
We need to prepare for their warning, not just for Earth, but for the entire planet.
"Whatever's coming, it's bigger than any of us imagined."
Rory nodded. "And we have 3 months."
"That's all the time we get." Ben looked at the massive formation of alien ships on the screen. "Then we make every second count. Humanity has to survive. No matter what, the world was no longer just a home. It was a shield, a warning, and a last hope. Humanity had to rise together or face a fate no one could imagine." And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, the alien fleet waited, watching and hoping that Earth could understand the message. The message from the alien fleet continued to haunt Jake Harris, Lily Grant, and Ben Carter. Each day brought new data, new patterns, and more questions. Humanity was now aware that they were not the target, but a warning. Yet the true meaning of that warning remained hidden. Lily sat in front of her screens, eyes tired but focused. "Jake, Ben, I've found something in the hidden layers of the message. Something they didn't mean for everyone to see at first." Jake leaned closer. "Hidden layers?"
You mean there's more than what we've already read?
"Yes," Lily replied. The first part of the message was simple. "Prepare yourselves. You are not the target. You are the warning." But there is another part, a second part, and it's terrifying. Ben crossed his arms. "Show us," Lily typed rapidly, bringing up a string of symbols and signals that seemed to shift and move on the screen. Then, slowly, a translation appeared. A cosmic entity moves across galaxies, consuming everything in its path. "We survived once. You will not survive without help. Earth is in the path." A cosmic entity? Like A destroyer of worlds? Not just a fleet or an army. Something much bigger. Something that devours entire galaxies. And Earth? Earth is next. Ben stared at the screen, his jaw tight. So that's why they sent the warning. They aren't invading. They're trying to save us. Jake ran a hand through his hair. Or test us. We don't know their true intentions. What if we trust them and it's a trap? I don't think it's a trap. Their message is clear. They were once conquerors, but their galaxy was destroyed. They survive. They want us to survive too.
They're refugees. They're warning us because they know what's coming.
For hours, the three of them worked in silence. The weight of the revelation pressed down on them. Humanity had no choice but to act. They could not hide, and they could not fight alone. The fate of the planet depended on understanding and cooperating with beings far more advanced than anyone on Earth had ever imagined. Outside, the world was still in panic. Cities emptied as people tried to escape perceived danger. Supplies ran low. Governments struggled to maintain order, yet hope began to appear among some. People realized that the aliens were not attacking, that perhaps survival was possible if humanity listened and worked with them. In Washington, President Laura King convened a meeting with scientists and military leaders. The aliens are warning us, she said. We have no reason to believe they want to harm us, but they know a threat is coming, something so large and powerful it can destroy Earth completely.
We have to decide how to respond. Advisors argued back and forth.
Some wanted to build weapons to fight the aliens, thinking it might be a trick. Others suggested communication, learning their technology, and preparing for the larger threat. Jake, Lily, and Ben presented their findings. They are not the enemy, Jake explained. They are survivors, like us, but far more advanced. Their galaxy was destroyed by the entity they call the Devourer. They are warning us so we can survive. If we act together, we might have a chance. A military general spoke up. And if we don't? If we ignore them? Or if they deceive us? Lily's voice was calm but firm. Then we will die. Alone, unprepared. The Devourer does not negotiate. It destroys everything. The room fell silent. The reality was simple, but terrifying. Humanity had only one chance, to work with beings they barely understood. Meanwhile, in the Space Defense Center, the alien fleet had begun to move again. But this time it was different. The ships formed protective shapes around Earth like a shield. It was clear they were not here to attack, but to prepare for something far larger. Jake watched the formation on the screen. They're helping us. They're trying to protect us. Lily nodded.
Yes, but protection is not enough.
We have to learn, adapt, and prepare ourselves. Their technology is advanced, but we have to make it work with what we know. That's our only chance, Ben sighed.
It's a lot to take in. We've spent our lives preparing for small threats.
Nuclear war, asteroids, even rogue satellites. But this is on a scale we can't even imagine. Jake rubbed his forehead. Jake, then we need every mind on Earth, every scientist, engineer, soldier. Everyone who can help must help. If we wait, it will be too late. Lily smiled faintly. I've already started decoding their tech patterns. They're complex, but adaptable. If we understand their systems, we might be able to build defenses capable of surviving the Devourer. Jake nodded. Then we work day and night. No rest. Every second counts. At the same time, ordinary people were beginning to notice changes. In towns and cities, people came together. Scientists gave talks on television and online. Communities built shelters, prepared supplies, and shared knowledge. Fear was still present, but hope had started to grow. Humanity was no longer helpless. In New York, Daniel Brooks and Mia Evans were busy helping neighbors organize food and water supplies. "We can't fight what's coming," Daniel said. "But we can survive if we work together." Mia nodded. "And maybe, just maybe, the aliens will help us understand how." Back at the Space Defense Center, Jake, Lily, and Ben discovered something extraordinary. A second hidden layer of the message contained detailed instructions. It was a blueprint for defense systems, energy shields, and communication methods with the aliens. The message was not just a warning, it was a plan. Jake's eyes widened. "They're giving us a chance to fight back, or at least survive."
Yes, but it's complicated. Hmm?
We have to combine our technology with theirs.
And fast. Ben rubbed his chin. 3 months is not enough, but it's all we have. We start now. The three of them began coordinating with governments and scientists worldwide. Communication systems were set up. Teams worked day and night to understand alien technology. Engineers adapted designs. Soldiers trained to operate new defense systems. The world was united in a way never seen before. Even children and ordinary people contributed. Schools held lessons on survival and science. Communities built shelters. Farmers and builders worked together to provide supplies. Fear had not disappeared, but it was channeled into action. Humanity was learning, growing, and preparing for a threat far larger than anyone had imagined. One night, Jake looked at the stars. The alien fleet glimmered in the distance, massive and silent. He thought about the message. You are the warning. Earth was not just a planet, it was a shield, a signal to the devourer. And humanity's survival was tied to understanding that truth. Lily joined him. "It's amazing, isn't it, that we're part of something so big, so important? Amazing and terrifying. We're standing between the devourer and the rest of the galaxy. If we fail, everything is lost." Ben walked up behind them. "Then we don't fail. We have to prepare, fight, and survive. That's all we can do." In the days that followed, Earth changed. Military bases worked alongside scientists. Cities built emergency centers. Communications networks expanded. Humanity was no longer just waiting. They were preparing. People began to notice small signs of cooperation from the aliens. Ships moved in ways that helped scientists understand energy patterns. Some ships created fields around Earth that stabilized the atmosphere. It was subtle, but clear. The aliens were assisting. Jake, Lily, and Ben realized that trust was no longer a choice. It was a necessity. Humanity had to work with the aliens if there was any hope of surviving the devourer. As the weeks passed, Earth became a hive of activity. Technology advanced rapidly. New weapons, shields, and sensors were built. Communication methods with the alien fleet improved. The world was united by a single purpose: survival. And then, one night, a new signal arrived from the alien fleet. It was short, almost simple. Prepare to learn. Time is short. Jake felt a chill. They're ready to teach us, to prepare us. Lily nodded, and we have no time to waste. The devourer is coming. We have to be ready. Ben looked at the stars and whispered, Earth will survive. Somehow, we will survive. The world had begun to understand the message, the warning, and the hidden truth. Earth was no longer just a home. It was a shield, a school, and a signal to the universe. Humanity had to rise to the challenge or face a fate worse than anything imagined. And somewhere in the vast emptiness of space, the devourer moved closer, unaware that Earth had begun preparing. Humanity had learned the truth. They were not alone. They were not the target. But the real test was just beginning. And Jake, Lily, and Ben knew one thing for certain. Failure was not an option. Earth was no longer the same planet it had been months ago. Fear had turned into action, panic into determination. Humanity had united in a way never seen before. Scientists, engineers, and soldiers worked together with alien allies, adapting new technology, building defenses, and preparing for a threat so large it could destroy the entire planet. Captain Jake Harris stood in the Global Space Defense Center, staring at the massive screens. The alien fleet had formed a protective perimeter around Earth, and the ships glowed faintly with energy fields that humans could barely understand. The Devourer, the cosmic entity that had destroyed entire galaxies, was moving closer. Its presence was immense, stretching across light years, consuming stars in its path.
We have less than a month, Jake said, his voice steady but firm. The Devourer is near.
We've done everything we can. Now we prepare for the final phase. Dr. Lily Grant was at her console, analyzing the alien technology that had been integrated into Earth's defenses. The shields are stable, she reported, but we need to synchronize them with the energy pulses from the alien fleet. If we fail, they won't hold. Commander Ben Carter nodded. Then we don't fail. Humanity survives, or nothing does. We are the last line. Across the world, cities had changed. Tall buildings now held emergency centers. Streets were equipped with shelters, and communication networks linked scientists and defense teams in real time. People had learned to work together, setting aside old conflicts. The message from the aliens had united humanity. Fear remained, but it was joined with determination and hope. In New York, Daniel Brooks and Mia Evans helped organize a network of volunteers. We can't stop the Devourer, Daniel said, but we can make sure as many people survive as possible. Mia nodded. Every shelter, every shield, every person trained matters. We're part of this fight, too. Back at the Defense Center, Jake, Lily, and Ben were preparing for the first test. The aliens had sent instructions to connect Earth's planetary shields with the fleet's energy network. It was complicated and dangerous. One wrong step could collapse the shield entirely. Lily adjusted her calculations. We have to align the frequencies perfectly. Even a small error could make the Devourer's approach unstoppable. Jake leaned back in his chair. Then we double-check everything. Triple-check it. Humanity doesn't get a second chance. Ben looked out at the massive fleet on the screen. They are here to help us. They've survived the Devourer before.
We have to trust them. Our survival depends on it.
As the days passed, humanity and the aliens worked side by side. Engineers built massive energy conduits, linking cities to power stations and the alien fleet. Soldiers trained with advanced weapons adapted from alien designs. Scientists studied the Devourer's movements, predicting its path and the destruction it would cause. On Earth, ordinary people also played their part. Farmers worked to ensure food supply, teachers taught survival and science to children, and volunteers built shelters. Fear had been replaced with purpose. Humanity had become one mind, focused on survival. Then One day, the first sign of the devourer appeared. A distant star vanished, swallowed in darkness. Satellites confirmed it. The cosmic entity was close. Its immense presence caused tremors across space, affecting orbits and energy fields. It's moving faster than we expected. It will reach our system sooner than predicted. Lily adjusted her calculations. We can still hold it off if the shields remain stable and the energy network stays connected. Ben clenched his fists. Then we hold. Humanity doesn't back down. The night before the Devourer's arrival, Jake walked through the defense center. Soldiers prepared for action. Scientists monitored energy levels, and technicians checked systems repeatedly. The alien fleet hovered silently, glowing faintly in the sky. It was a quiet but tense moment. Lily joined him. Tomorrow, everything changes. We either survive or we don't. Are you ready? Jake looked at the glowing fleet. I've never been more ready. Humanity has fought before. We'll fight again. This is bigger, yes, but we have the will to survive. And that's something the Devourer can't understand. Ben walked over. Then we fight. Together. Devourer arrived. Its size was beyond comprehension. A dark, moving shadow that swallowed light and energy as it advanced. The first waves of destruction reached the outer planets of the solar system. Moons cracked, asteroids were pulled into the shadow, and energy fields fluctuated wildly. Jake gave the command. Activate the shields. Connect with the fleet.
Focus energy on the planetary network. Lily's fingers flew over the controls.
Energy flow is stabilizing. Shields are holding. Synchronizing with the fleet now. Ben watched the monitors. It's working. Earth is not destroyed yet. But the Devourer is relentless. We have to keep it focused on us while the fleet directs energy back at it. For hours, the fight continued. Energy beams, shields, and pulses of light clashed with the dark mass of the Devourer. The alien fleet guided humanity, giving precise instructions. Every person, from soldiers to volunteers, played a role. Humanity was fighting not just for itself, but for the entire planet. In the streets, people watched the sky. The stars seemed different, as if the universe itself had shifted. Children huddled with parents, volunteers manned emergency stations, and communities worked in perfect coordination. Fear was present, but courage shone brighter. Daniel Brooks and Mia Evans monitored local shelters. We're holding, Daniel said. The energy pulses are keeping people safe. We can't stop it completely, but we can survive. Back in the defense center, Jake, Lily, and Ben coordinated with the alien fleet. Every calculation, every adjustment was critical. One misstep could collapse the shield and doom the planet. Lily's voice trembled slightly. Energy levels are peaking. We're pushing the shields to their limits. We hold. Humanity holds. Ben added, remember, we are not alone. The aliens are here. We fight together. Slowly, the Devourer's shadow began to react to the energy network. The combined force of human and alien technology pushed back the darkness, creating a protective field around Earth. The immense size of the entity made it impossible to destroy, but for the first time, humanity realized they could survive its approach. Cities that were ready for evacuation remained intact. The alien fleet acted as a guide, a shield, and a teacher, showing humanity how to coordinate, how to fight, and how to survive against a force far beyond imagination. For Jake, Lily, and Ben, exhaustion was constant, but they did not stop. They monitored energy flows, recalibrated shields, and adjusted strategies. Humanity's survival depended on their work. Finally, The Devourer reached the edge of the solar system. It slowed slightly, sensing the resistance. Energy pulses from the Earth alien network forced it to retreat temporarily. Humanity had survived the first impact. Jake exhaled, relief and exhaustion mixing together. We did it. For now. Earth is still here. Lily smiled faintly. We've survived. But the Devourer will return. We need to continue improving defenses. Ben nodded. Yes. But today, humanity fought and survived. That's the important part. We have proven we can stand against forces larger than ourselves. Across the world, people celebrated quietly. They had survived the unimaginable. Earth was battered but alive. Communities came together, helping those in need, repairing shelters, and preparing for the next phase. Humanity had learned that courage, cooperation, and determination could overcome even the darkest threats. In the weeks after the battle, Jake, Lily, and Ben worked to strengthen the network further. The alien fleet shared more technology, more knowledge, and more strategies. Humanity was no longer just defending itself. It was learning to protect the planet against threats from the stars. Children watched the sky, dreaming of the future. Scientists and engineers continued their work, inspired by the scale of the universe and the role humanity now played. Ordinary people realized that even small actions mattered, and every life was connected in the effort to survive. One night, Jake stood with Lily and Ben, looking at the stars. The alien fleet glowed in the distance, still protecting Earth. The Devourer had retreated, but it was not gone. Jake whispered, "We've survived today."
But we have to be ready for tomorrow. Humanity has a long way to go.
Lily nodded, "And we will. Together, humans and allies, we've learned that even against the largest threats, we can fight. We can survive. We can thrive." Ben added, "Earth is no longer just a planet. It's a symbol, a shield, a warning to the universe that humanity exists, and we will not be destroyed easily." For the first time in history, humanity understood its place in the cosmos. They were not alone. They were not helpless, and they had the strength to face the unknown. The sky was quiet that night, but the stars seemed brighter. The universe was vast, filled with dangers, mysteries, and wonders. Humanity had survived a force beyond comprehension, and in doing so, had proven that courage, intelligence, and cooperation could stand against anything. And somewhere far away, the Devourer moved, unaware that the small blue planet it had targeted had become a beacon of resistance. Earth had survived, humanity had risen, and the galaxy would never forget the day the humans fought, learned, and proved they could stand against even the stars themselves.